I frequently use Google Forms to collect student responses, but one of the major headaches has been verifying whether or not Jimmy responded to the survey. I frequently want a list of students that have or have not responded so that I can quickly determine who needs to follow up on it. So I developed a quick little spreadsheet here in Google Forms that allows me to do that very quickly. So I'm assuming that most of your schools have student ID numbers or some other student-specific identifying number, whether it's an email address or something to that effect. So I always include that on my response. So let's say that student number 1008 needs to respond to this homework survey. They're going to tell me that they spend 1 hour a night studying on an average day. When they submit that, it almost instantly appears on the response survey. But now that doesn't help me too much because I can't easily tell who hasn't responded. So what I've done is I've created a roster alongside of it, and this roster, you can see that all my students are presidents here. You can see that this roster highlights those students that haven't responded in red. And to show you how quickly this works, I can enter another response. Let's say Mr. Obama responds that he studies, he's a busy man, so maybe he only studies 15 minutes a night. When he submits that almost instantaneously over here on the left takes the red off of his name, and I can see that he responded. Now I can quickly see who has responded and who's not. And when they submit their response, this form here, this spreadsheet, will tell me which row Mr. Obama's response is in. So if I wanted to find his specific response, I could go over to the responses tab of the responses spreadsheet and see row 7 is Mr. Obama's 15 minutes. So let me show you how to do that very quickly. The first thing you'll need to do is actually find this sheet. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this down for a moment. Under your drive, you will see the form, and you should see the responses sheet. Now if you don't see the responses sheet, go ahead and open up that form and click the View Responses. That will generate that sheet for you, and you will have that sitting there in the future. So once you've got that, you can open up that responses sheet. So the first thing I do is I create a roster. I'm only going to need to do this once for each class or section that I am looking to do. I can move this roster easily into future surveys, but I'm going to add a sheet and I'm going to call that roster. I've already done this, so I'm going to delete this sheet here. But I've got my roster in here, and maybe I've organized this by student ID number, maybe I've divided it up by hour. It doesn't matter as long as the roster includes whatever that identifying thing is that the student is going to type in, so be it their student ID number, and then whatever you want to know about that student, so name or whatever you think is important. Maybe you've divided name by first and last name so you can sort it later again. It doesn't really matter. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if this student has submitted a response. So I'm going to say equals match, and then what do I want to see match? I want to see their student ID number here, so that column A2. I'm going to hit comma, and now I'm going to search for this student ID number in a range, and that range comes from the Responses tab. I'm going to highlight the entire column where I could have those responses. So this is on Form Responses 1, column B. So that is my desired range here. Go back over here, and what I want to do now is I want that to check it, and I am going to tell it that this 0 here is going to be, it means that I don't expect their answers to be in order, but it's very important that this is the number 0 here. So if we hit enter, it will it returns the row that it finds this on. So Mr. Obama has responded. His response will be in row 7 of that other sheet. I'm going to drag that right down my entire roster, and the code NA will appear anywhere where somebody hasn't responded. Now this is fine, and maybe this is helpful enough. I like to color code it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a piece of conditional formatting. So I'm going to right click on one of the names. I'm going to go down to conditional formatting, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a custom formula. So that's way down here at the bottom. Custom formula is, and my custom formula is equal to is NA, and this is going to check to see if that cell next to it is NA. So that cell is C2, which was next to B2 up there, and I want a custom color, background color of red if that is NA. So if row C2 is NA, then it will set the background color to red. I'm going to save this rule, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this cell, Control C. I'm going to highlight all of my students, and I'm going to edit, paste special, paste conditional formatting only, and that will put that same check into all of my cells so that I get the students that haven't responded in red. Now if I want to put this roster with all of its formatting into another spreadsheet, all I have to do is create that form in Google first, and then all I need to do is right click on this tab, on my roster tab here, and copy to. Now when I copy to, it'll allow me to search my Google Drive for that new form, select that, move it over there, and I will be ready to go on my next form. So this is a one-time setup. Then you just copy this new sheet into future forms and you'll be able to see exactly who's responded to your surveys. If you like this video, I'd appreciate a like. Feel free to subscribe. I will do more of these. And please, I encourage you to comment. Let me know if you have questions, if you'd like to see something else. I plan on doing these semi-frequently from here on out. Thank you for watching.